everybody! Recently, I went to see an amazing musical, so I decided to invite the producer to come and hang out with us on the Treehouse. Stay tuned.
I'm Adam Widener, and welcome to our Treehouse.
Hello and welcome to the Treehouse. Our guest today is the chair of the Huntington University Theater Art Department and the station manager of Forza Radio. Please welcome with me, Ryan Long. Hey Ryan, welcome. So glad to have you on the Treehouse. You can go ahead and take a seat. So, you are the chair of the Theater Art Department. How long have you been involved with theater just as a whole?
Well, almost 20 years now.
Wow.
So, professionally, yeah. So I guess you could say I've been involved with it, though, since I was a kid. I can remember writing plays on Post-it notes for my cousins to perform, so that should have been a clue.
That's amazing. So, what inspired you to get involved with theater?
That's a really complicated question, so I'll try to be brief. It's something that I've loved most of my life, but I actually was rather afraid of for a long time. I was a very shy kid. I liked to do theater, but it was very intimidating to go through the audition process and all of that. So I wasn't super involved with it until about halfway through my college career, and I finally got up the sort of the gumption to audition for one of my college's productions, and then I was hooked, and I was in a bunch after that. So, but then I graduated. I actually didn't graduate with a theater degree. I was in English, and so I went and worked as a textbook publisher, as a reporter, had a variety of different jobs with that degree, but really found that sitting behind a desk for 8 hours a day was not for me. So, yes, and so I started to explore working in theater and started to work professionally, got an agency, and kind of the rest is history.
That's amazing.
And I actually, when I decided to do that, I'd gotten my feet wet a little bit professionally, and I joke that I jumped off the cliff and ran away to London. Because it was kind of a metaphor, but not really. I actually did go run off to London for about 3 months and went to school there. So
that is so great. So what's your favorite show you've ever been part of?
Probably You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown is right up there. I've actually been a part of it 3 times. I was Lucy one time, and I've directed it twice.
That's amazing. So you're a teacher here at Huntington University. How long have you been teaching, and has that always been part of the plan?
No, it has not always been part of the plan. I can remember graduating with an English major and everybody being like, oh, what are you going to do with that, teach? And I would be like, no, very vehemently. And so, no, it was not part of the plan. But after I had been working in theater for a while, I had gone to graduate school, and I had thought about teaching as a way to kind of get some of my graduate school paid for.
Yeah.
But then once I started doing it, I realized how much I loved it, and I realized how much I loved working with younger actors and kind of coaching them through the process. And so I started to do that more. And I have been here, this is my 5th year here at HU. That's
amazing. So if you were to have no limitations at all whatsoever, what would you want to produce?
That is a very good question. I honestly am not entirely sure what show I would want to produce. I have several different ones, but it would kind of, a lot of it doesn't really depend as much on budget. A lot of it depends on the group of people that you're creating with. And so, I think it would depend a lot on who was involved in the production versus what kind of budget I had. Because I've made one of the best shows I think I ever was part of was on a shoestring budget.
Okay.
And I've been a part of some really big budget shows that were not great experiences.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it has a lot to do with the people who are involved.
Yes.
So I think that's where I start with my shows, and that's where I would, probably gravitate towards. I know that's like a cop-out answer, but
No, it's great though. So you had just mentioned that you studied in London. That's amazing. How was that? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So I studied at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, known as LAMDA, sort of shorthand, and a few very famous actors have studied there as well, including Benedict Cumberbatch. That's one that a lot of people know. So, and actually, when I was there, it was kind of funny. The actor who played Dudley in I think it was Dudley in the Harry Potter films. He was actually a student there, so that was kind of cool. But I took their summer program, which was on Shakespeare and his contemporaries. And so for about 2.5 months, I got to study Shakespeare and Jacobean literature and text analysis and performance styles. And it was really, really incredible. Got to see a lot of great shows while I was in the city. So it was a really, really horizon broadening experience, but also a really educational experience.
That's amazing. Well, after the break, we're going to continue our great conversation while taking a hike through the British countrysides. Stay tuned. Awesome.
Because Thanksgiving, here are the things we're thankful for.
I'm thankful for God's faithfulness. What are you thankful for, Mason?
I'm thankful for a co-host that has energy, because I never do.
Things that I'm thankful for is the amount of opportunities I've had to be creative and to make things with this wonderful group of people that I'm working with now.
I'm thankful for amazing family, friends, and God's goodness.
Something that I'm thankful for is my family, and that encompasses everybody who supports me.
What I'm thankful for Thanksgiving this year is having a lot of family friends over.
I'm thankful for the community I have here at HU, my family, and my girlfriend.
What's up? I'm thankful for my girlfriend and family.
And I am thankful for all the wonderful people I got to meet this year.
Anyways, we'll see you back on the Treehouse.
Welcome back. Today, Professor Long and I are going to go on a hike. So let's get started. So, what is your favorite show you've ever been to see?
That's a tricky question because I like a few different genres.
Okay.
But I think probably the all-time favorite was because more of who was in it than what it was. When I was in London, actually, I got to see the production of Hamlet with David Tennant and Patrick Stewart in it. So
Oh,
that was
that'd
very
be
exciting.
so good. Okay, so Huntington recently performed Tuck Everlasting. How do you think that went?
It went really, really well. Audiences seem to really respond to it well, to really connect with the story. The cast and crew all say that this was one of the best shows that they've worked on together, just because of the way that there was camaraderie and there was people kind of really taking care of one another. And so it was a great production all around, from behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I heard that in the spring, HU will be performing These Shining Lives. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, so it's a dramatic play, and it is based on a true story. So in the 1920s and 30s, there was a radium dial factory in Illinois, and they employed women to paint watch faces with radium-based paint. Well, now we know that radium is radioactive, and that's probably not a real good thing.
Yeah.
And so, but they didn't know that at the time, and this was right about when they were starting to discover that the women working in these factories were having significant health problems, debilitating, crippling, and eventually, lethal health problems.
Yeah.
And so some of the women started to question what was going on and try to report that they were sick, and there was kind of a company-wide cover-up of this. And so one woman finally decided to sue the company. And she was, at the time, the newspaper industry was all about sensationalism, and so there were a lot of really nasty things said about her. And so she could have given up, but she didn't, and it actually made a lot of changes in workplace safety and also in protecting people in the workplace.
That's awesome. Well, this was a great hike, but it looks like we've arrived back at the Treehouse. So let's go inside and take a picture to remember our time doing this hike.
All right.
Here's a picture from last week with Spencer Kraft. If you want to come on this side. Well, thank you, Professor Long, for coming on the Treehouse and sharing a little bit about yourself. Let's take a photo to remember our awesome hike. Go. Okay.
Old school selfies.
Right? Okay. I think that took, but I'm not positive. Be sure to check out our social media so that you don't miss out on any of our exciting adventures. Thank you, Professor Long, for joining us today. And thank you for coming to see this episode. I hope to see you again next time on the Treehouse.